Now that we created our first topic, let's go back and look at the rest of our course and let's add more topics. So to begin with, you want to be at classwork and you want to choose the create, and you're going to get a drop down and you're going to select topic. Now that you got the add topic pop up, you might begin to look at your syllabus to see if that's going to help you create your topics from the syllabus that was given to you by your department chair. In determining a topic, I'm going to go ahead and open up a syllabus. So I'm going to go to my file, and I'm going to, now remember I put all my files under Sinta courses. So when I click on that, it takes me to my courses over here. And I'm going to go to that Advanced Educational Psychology again and look for the syllabus. So I'm going to go to Spring 2020. And hopefully your syllabus that you're using for this course is going to be arranged similar to mine, which it really should be. So let's see if I can find the syllabus for this course. Here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and open up that syllabus. And what you want to do is probably pan down to the course schedule. And mine is down below here. So I got my week. So I got week 1, week 2, week 3 there. And in my weeks, I have my topics already. So basically for week 1, and I go by chapters here, so it's chapter 1, and Educational Psychology, a Foundation for Teaching. Now, in the previous email in my introduction, you might recall that I had them read chapter 1. So actually they got chapter 1 out of the way. So I'm going to go down to chapter 2 here, our week 2. And my topic then is cognitive language and literacy development. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And I'm going to right click and I'm going to copy. Now I want to go back to my classroom and I'm going to paste that in. Now this is a suggestion. So you might want to put week 1. Well, actually this is week 2, okay, because my introduction was week 1. And that kind of keeps you in track and keeps students in line, so you know that they have to do week 1 to go to week 2 to week 3. So there's 15 weeks in the semester, so you may have at least 15 topics that you need to create and decide what the lessons are going to be that fall under those major topics. So again, here I am. I'm going to paste that in now. And you'll notice it's going to add it up there on my topic list. Okay, so now it's not really in order because my class introduction should be up here on top. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab it and I'm going to drop it down below there. And you might have to do that with all of your topics that you create. Okay, so now let's go back and let's create another topic. And this time I'm just going to type week 3. And hopefully your syllabus is arranged like I am. So you want to look at your syllabus, the schedule. So I'm going to go back to my syllabus. Here it is over here. And I'm going to go down to week 3. And this time I'm covering social, moral, and emotional development. I'm going to go ahead and copy that. Right click, go back to my classroom. And I'm going to add it just behind where I say week 3. Paste. And go ahead and add that. So again, it's going to put it at the top there. And I'm going to drag and drop it. Now, you might want to start at the bottom with week 15 and what's your topic going to be and work your way up so it follows success one after another as you begin to build that. But I'm going to keep building it like this, and it's no problem if I drag and drop it down below here. Okay, let's go back and I'm going to get one more. So I'm going to go back up to the top because my create is up here towards the top. So I'm going to go create topic. And this is week 2, 3. This is week 4. So I'm going to go back to my syllabus, pull it back up, and I'm going to go down to week 4. And you notice I used the Lakota words for the week, days of the week. So this one is student diversity. Okay, copy and go back to my classroom and paste that in. So you probably want to continue that through 15 weeks. One of the topics that I always add here, and because there's certain materials that you want your students to find at hand. For example, I posted the syllabus during my first meeting in class introduction. By the way, I'm going to pull this down here. I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop it down. So I want students to reference that, and I may need to reference frequently when I'm with my students. So I'm going to create, what I do is I create what I call course materials. And I'm going to add that. And for my classes, I always tell the students it's at the bottom. And so things that you use quite frequently that you want to refer back to is what you want to put in there. For example, I should put my syllabus down there. So I'm going to go back up to create, and I'm going to use the materials tab, and I'm going to put course syllabus again. And I might do a little description, you know, this is your course syllabus, make sure you read and agree. And I think I put that on previously, but you might want to make another note. So you want to choose the add down here. And it's not in my Google Drive. I can't link it in, but it's in my file. So remember those steps. You have those options wherever your things are located. Okay, so now in review, Google always brings your most recent documents up first, but I need to know, I need to upload it from my PC. So I'm going to select Browse. And I'm going to go down to my Syntagleshka folder. And I'm going to look for Advanced Educational Psychology. And it was spring 2020. And I'm going to go down and I'm going to find that syllabus. And I'm going to open it. And it's loading up right now. And I'm going to go over here. I want it in this class. I want it to go to all students. But this time I want to choose my topics. So you can see it added those new topics that I just created. So I want to click on course materials because that's where I want it to go. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead. I can either post it again, I can schedule it, or I can save it as a draft. For this practice, I'm going to save it as a draft. Remember, if you post it, your students can see it right away. And that wouldn't be such a bad thing to do. But there it is. Okay, so again, you can go back in and edit it. Choose the 3 dots there, and you can go back and edit. Let's go back to our second week, our week 2. And our topic is cognitive language and literacy development. I'm going to go back to that syllabus. Now, I should have left it open, or did I? I think I did, yeah. So I'm going to go back to the syllabus, and I'm going to look to see what was scheduled here. So it's signed, it says read chapter 1 and related scholarly articles and include a written response. Now, thinking of that, I'm going to go back to my classroom, and I'm going to go back up because this is going to go over under week 2. I'm going to choose the create because now remember, I had my students read the chapter, read chapter 1. And now I want them to come to class to me ready to discuss it. already. And typically we do this as teachers, is that whatever we assign them and we're moving them on to the next thing, we usually review their previous learning or what was covered previously. So in the event that we're meeting more asynchronously here, then I might want to choose the questions. And I might choose the question of chapter 1 questions. Now I'm going to go back to the syllabus because I know in this particular course I ask essential questions, and students are to read and they're to seek out those essential questions. So those become part of my outcome or my goal. And now later I'm moving them down to my objective here is so after students read chapter 1, they will respond to the essential questions that has been posted for them. And now I'm asking the question, and it's going to associate with the essential questions that I ask. So I'm going to go back to my syllabus here and just see what the essential questions were for that particular chapter. Now, hopefully, again, you may have to do this yourself. I don't know how developed your syllabus are for the courses that you're teaching, but here is the essential questions that I asked. So I'm just going to copy them and copy. And now I'm going to go back to my classroom, and I'm going to paste them in. Okay. And so I might say, answer the following questions. What makes a good teacher? What is the role of research, and what are the research methods? And so on. So there again, do I have anything to add? Not necessarily. I don't. But perhaps I could, and then that might be a little bit too much at this time. So actually over here, with this in mind, here are the short answers. So I want them to, I have an option here when I drop down. It can be either multiple choice or short answers. And so what happens here is that the students then are going to type out their response to this question. I can add points to it, and I think typically my reflective responses are worth 20 points. Okay. Now, with that in mind, then you can go down and you can post it this way. Students can reply to each other. So that's an option. So we know that good teaching consists of dialogue. So that might be one way to engage students in dialogue. Although you want to be careful so they're not piggybacking off of somebody else's response. And you might say in here in your instructions, answer 2 of your colleagues or your classmates, or make sure you put your directions up there, exactly what they're supposed to do. Students can edit answers. So that means that they can go in and they can change and add to and edit each other's work. So they can add to it, which might not be a bad option with this assignment. So someone might say, and not complete this fully, but some other students will edit and add to that essential question. Okay, so there again, is there a due date? And you can either post it or whatever, but again, like I always do, I don't post it until right before I meet them. Now that would probably be something you would use if you're meeting them virtually. But if you are going more asynchronously where they're working on their own and they're going through chapter 1, 2, 3, and whatever, and then you're stopping, then you're meeting with them on real time at Google Meet, then you might go ahead and post the date there. Okay, so now let's go down and under what topic is this? So it was week 2. So we're going to put it there. We're going to select week 2, and we can choose ask again, or we can schedule it or save as a draft or discard. So you might, if you scheduled it, you might post every week underneath your topic your assignments and your instruction. So you could go ahead and schedule it. So the following week, you're going to move on to the next chapter or the next topic. And that's kind of how I'm setting mine up right now. Okay, so I'm going to save draft again. So you can see then, now that it added under week 2. So now I'm going to go back. So I got my essential questions asked. So I'm going to create. Now, remember the assignment. If I'm doing chapter readings, the next assignment is read chapter 2. Now you could, and be prepared to respond. Be prepared to respond. I'm trying to hurry because I only get so much time for the videos for week 3. Okay. So actually, there's nothing I'm going to add. I'm going to go over there. It's practice. It's for this class. It goes to all students. It's worth 20 points. And I can apply a date if I wish. And it goes under what topic? It goes under week 2. And I did create a rubric. Now I want you to play with this rubric. And you can, if you already have rubrics made, it's possible that you can copy and paste them into this format here. Okay? Then of course I can assign, or I can schedule, or save as draft. Again, I'm going to choose save as draft here. So you can see now it added that assignment under week 2. It's still in ghost mode. Now I can, let's say I didn't finish it. So since I left it in ghost mode, I can go back and I can edit it and add to it. Okay. So now let's go back and see what else we could do. I know in that syllabus, it asked that I had some reading selections that I found online for them. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to create. And also I can use the assignment or the question option again. So let's choose the question option. Okay. So I'm just going to put reading selections, distant online reading selections. And of course I might change that title in relation to what it is that they're, the types of reading selections that they're going to do. So I'm going to go to the internet, and I believe the title was Cognitive and Language Development. Now I teach at a graduate level, so sometimes I can go to EBSCOhost or whatever and find reading selections for them. But I also found if I add the word peer review, that it's quicker for me to find things. And the cognitive development of young dual language. Let's say that's something that I looked at and it looked very good. It's a credible study, it's credible written or whatever. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy that URL, and I'm going to copy it. And now I'm going to go back to my classroom. Whoops. Classroom. Right here. I'm going to find my own classroom. And I'm going to choose add. And this time it's a link. So I'm going to go ahead and link it in. Paste. And add link. And this probably should relate to my essential questions, because remember I have essential questions. Now when I think of essential questions, actually they're goal driven. Those are things that you want your students to focus in on because they probably relate to your overall course outcome. Okay, so I want to keep them. And also essential questions also put learning back on the learner where it belongs, because the student might be reading and say, okay, this is important. And so they might zone in and they begin to look for those things prior to going into a learning session with you, okay? Also, it puts learning back on the learner where it belongs, in my opinion. And another thing that I always say is that students need to know what it is that you want them to learn. And Essential Questions actually does that for them. That it gives them an idea of what it is that you want them to learn. And there again, it ties back to your goals and your overall course outcomes. Okay? So now I can ask the question. Of course, I should put it in here, whatever it is that I want them to look for again, so it goes back to my essential questions. I can either ask it, well, I better go down here, what is it worth? So I need to apply a point system to it, let's say 25 points, whatever. It's going to go to my practice page. No other courses do I want it to go to. It's going to go out to all students. I can date it, okay? And under what topic? I'm still under week 2. So I'm going to go ahead and put it there, and I'm going to go up and actually, I could ask it, but I'm going to save as a draft. Okay, so I'm still building my instruction in relation to my outcome or my essential questions here. Now, Google Classroom has the option of doing other things too, that you can add quiz assignments. And I'm going to post a separate video for that. I usually didn't use this because this is a new tab that they placed here. So I didn't use it in the classes that I did, although it is similar, very similar, and it's like Google Form. So maybe you have used Google Form before where you create your own surveys. I created my own rubrics using Google Form. And so I suggest you go in and play with that a little bit, okay? So now with this video, we created titles, and under our titles, we begin to think about our instruction, and we begin to use some of the other options like assignments, questions, and materials. So begin to think about how do you get your students to reach your topic goals or objectives or your essential questions that you want to ask. So what I would like for you to do is just continue to put together your titles and then begin to think about your instruction that's going to fall underneath those titles.